I approached it in the sense that I wanted to find out more about Romeo and Juliet and understand this process by which they fall in love. In Shakespeare, it happens like that. It's this instant love at first sight thing. And that, for me, doesn't really work in a modern context. You know, that's a very old-fashioned kind of courtly love notion. So the first challenge was to understand, why do these two seem to fall in love? And when you think about it, there are very good reasons for it to happen on both their parts. Romeo is desperate to be in love with someone. He's been jilted, he's lovesick, he's going to fall in love with somebody, whoever it is. It just happens to be Juliet, let's face it. Juliet is much more interesting and much more complicated because she is about to be forced into a marriage she doesn't want. And at the age of 16, she's effectively facing a death sentence. She's a bright young child of the Renaissance who wants to see the world. She wants to be involved in art and painting. She wants to be free. She doesn't want to have somebody else impose their identity upon her. So she's looking for an escape route. And how much affection is there? How much real love is there between these two? I think there is a fair bit. But it's undoubtedly true that for Juliet, Romeo is an escape route. It's a way out of this forced marriage, a way out of this trap that she's about to fall into that's forced upon her by her father. One of the important themes in Romeo and Juliet that's often overlooked is identity. Core to this story is the question, are we who we think we are, or are we the person that society and family forces upon us? Is she this obedient wife who's just going to be bearing children for a nobleman she doesn't like, or can she escape this trap that's being forced upon her? And there's a really big clue in this in one of the most famous lines Shakespeare ever wrote, and one of the most famous lines ever to be misunderstood. When she says, "Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?" she's not asking where he is. Wherefore means why. She's asking, why are you called Romeo? Actually, she should be asking, why is he called Montague? Because it's his name that stops them being a potential couple. Because the Montagues and the Capulets are involved in this vendetta, his name, not him, stops him being a potential husband in the eyes of her father. So identity and the ability to escape your identity, if that's possible, I think are really key elements in this story. And they led me to rewrite the ending. Why did I do that? Well, it's an adaptation. You know, this is not a photocopy of Shakespeare. This isn't Shakespeare. This goes back to Shakespeare's sources and introduces new material. But if you're going to adapt a story like this, you mustn't be in awe of it. You mustn't feel afraid of it. So I may get a fatwa from some Shakespeare purists, I don't know, but this does not end the way the play ends. And people who are expecting just a kind of modern language version of the original are in for a shock. Normally I write novels, and novels, I won't say novels are easy, but a novel you sit down and it's all in your head and you read it and then you print it out and you read it, and that's the process. But one thing I learned when I started doing audio drama for Audible is that doesn't work and you have to become an actor. So when I have a final draft for this, I lock myself in an apartment in Venice, always the same apartment because I'm very superstitious about it, and I play the parts. I leap around with swords, I become the lover, I become the loved. And I have to go to Venice to do this because if I did it at home in England, I think my wife would call in a doctor or something. You know, it's very embarrassing, but it has to be done because it's only by pretending to perform the thing that you see the gaps and you hear the gaps and you hear a grating word or whatever. It is an essential part of the madness of being an author, which I knew there were many different parts of the madness, but this is a new one to me.